That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is the 6th film directed by James Gunn. A Marvel film, of course, is being released courtesy of Disney on May 5th, 2023, Cinco de Mayo.
Do I know James Gunn's other films?
You've seen all of his films.
Oh.
Except for this one.
What are they?
You've seen the first two Guardians films, of course.
Okay.
You've seen Slither.
Yes.
You've seen Super.
Super.
With James Gunn. With Rainn Wilson, where he's pretending to be the superhero.
Oh, yeah. I saw that in Duluth.
You did, back in 2010. And The Suicide Squad from 2021, which we were both big fans of.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Did you like this movie?
I did like it. I wasn't... Usually with Marvel films, I'm kind of dreading going in because but I liked the first two Guardians well enough, and I want to say I felt this was the best of all three of them.
Oh, wow.
Because I found it very affecting and poignant, and God, really dark.
The story, still reeling from the loss of Gamora, Peter Quill rallies his team to defend the universe and one of their own, a mission that could mean the end of the Guardians if not successful. So, I don't remember any of the first two movies, but
I can't believe you didn't even remember Kurt Russell in the second one.
No. Zoe Saldaña's character is killed.
She was killed in, I think, the Avengers Infinity War film. She was one of the few casualties in that. But she actually didn't die, because, her dad's Thanos.
But her memory's different, so she doesn't remember the romance she had with Chris Pratt.
Star-Lord.
So he's, depressed. Mm-hmm. But the story is really more about the raccoon.
Mm-hmm. It's about Rocket.
So the raccoon is very badly injured at the beginning of the film because someone, crash lands into their little space. So...
Adam Warlock, played by Will Poulter.
So the raccoon, because he's genetically modified, there's some code in him, a kill switch, that if they try to do medical services on him, he'll die. So of course his buddies, the Guardians, try to go find the code to be able to help their friend. But while that's happening, of course there's a villain. The villain's called...
The High Evolutionary, played by Chukwudi Iwuji, who's in John Wick Chapter 2.
So this villain is who created the raccoon, Bradley Cooper. But he's a villain because he's trying to create a superior race.
Mm-hmm. A utopia calls it, but it sounds very much like Nazism. Right?
And he did a lot of experiments on creatures that were not successful, and I think is partly why you think it's very dark, right? Which you'll get to. But Rocky the raccoon is a success. Rocket the raccoon is a success because he's smart and can think for himself. But that also allowed Rocket to escape from the villain, way back in the day. So all of this time, the villain's been looking for Rocket. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the villain's looking for Rocket. Rocket's been injured, so his friends, the Guardians, are trying to get him help. They do sort of figure out that they need to get the information from the villain.
Yes, because first they go to the orgoscope, which is this kind of large spatial organism that they have to hack into, and that's where Gamora comes in, because now she's part of the Ravagers, and she thinks she's going to get payments. And then they find in this orgoscope everything that was created by the High Revolutionary. The High Evolutionary has a file, if you will, and they find Rocket's file, but also that recently some code has been deleted from it. And it's one of the scientists of the High Evolutionaries, because they've laid a trap for the Guardians to come to him. And meanwhile, he's also sent out the Sovereigns. Aisha was the priestess, played by Elizabeth Debicki, and she gave birth to the son, Adam Warlock, this new character out of this cocoon. So they're kind of plan B to try to get Rocket as well. So all of that is going on.
So anyway, they end up finding the villain. There's a battle. They're successful, because they defeat him and get the code, right? Or whatever information they need. Mm-hmm. They heal the raccoon.
Yeah, in short.
And all's well that ends well. But Chris Pratt says he doesn't want to be part of the Guardians anymore because he wants to go spend time with his...
He wants to go see his grandfather, played by Greg Henry.
So it looks like the new Guardians are going to be...
Rocket is made captain. So part of the High Evolutionary, he's creating all these other cultures. He's created something called Counter Earth, which is basically just like Earth, but with all these hybrid like creatures. Because he's basically like Dr. H.G. Wells' Dr. Moreau. But this Counter Earth has the same problems. And what he really wants is Rocket's brain. So he's about to implode Counter Earth is what's happening. And on this ship, he's seeded it with all these other little human children he's created, speaking this language that only Dave Bautista's Drax speaks. And Nebula has decided that she's going to take these children and make a brand new world.
So she's also retiring from Guardians.
Yeah. So it's basically just Groot and
Dave Bautista.
I don't think he was there either. He's doing something else.
So it's just
Mantis is going off to be on her own. There's a new character named Cosmos, which is a dog that's a reference to Laika, the dog the Russians sent to space, and she's voiced by Maria Bakalova. And then, of course, Sean Gunn as Kraglin with that poison pen needle thing.
So those two plus Groot and the raccoon are now the new Guardians.
Yes.
But then there are two after credit sequences.
The new Guardians, and then they're in battle saving something. And then the very end is Quill with his grandpa, and then we eating cereal and talking about something banal, and then we get print that says Star-Lord will return.
How does the movie look?
It looks great.
Are the songs cool?
Henry Braham, who shot the last one, yes, you got Heart in there, you got Bruce Springsteen, you got Flaming Lips, but the very best song and best use of it is at the end when Florence and the Machine's Dog Days Are Over. It's a very cathartic song that, because Rocket also inherits Chris Pratt's little iPod, and he goes through the decades to the 2000s, and that's the song that comes on.
So talk about what was dark about the film.
Oh God, so this High Evolutionary was doing Dr. Joseph Mengele shit on these animals, and every time I see them, it's just like devastating to watch. It's like the kids in the Holocaust and Life is Beautiful. Because Rocket's basically plucked from this group of other raccoons and operated upon, and then he's thrust into these cages with these other animals, including a very lovely otter that has mechanical arms, voiced by Linda Cardellini, and a walrus that has these big wheels attached to him, and then a little lamb that has like spider legs, and it's just so depressing to watch. It's almost unbelievably dark for something that Disney has shied away from. But I guess if you're using animals, it's okay to go there. But I did really appreciate that because it makes an impression.
What else you got?
But I think James Gunn has always been really good at that. He's really good at ensemble pieces where everybody has a distinct personality and almost everybody's given a chance to shine, but also not shying away from the darkness underneath it. Because, you know, what I really dislike about most of these Marvel films is all these superheroes are cut from the same cloth of banality that you don't care about them. So I almost always end up rooting for the villain who is given at least the story of, I can understand why they might feel a certain way, even though if they're doing things the wrong way. And in this one, it really is kind of the opposite. You really, with all the Guardians films, I guess, where you are rooting for them, and this sociopath that is trying to get Rocket's brain is, you know, is truly evil. I don't know. But yeah, if I could give it like a 3.75, I would, but it's probably 3.5. I think it's really well done. I wouldn't mind another one being made, although I saw Zoe Saldaña said she's not coming back as Gamora. But I don't know. I've much warmed up to Karen Gillan as Nebula. Pom Klementieff as Mantis, I think, is a lot of fun. Sylvester Stallone shows up in a cameo as a Ravager. I thought Will Poulter had some nice comedic moments in there, as well as this kind of big, dumb, strong thing. And Dave Bautista, of course, who is also doing that as well.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
Hit the thanks button. Listen to our podcast. Bye.